I would like to call this meeting of the Personnel Committee at 6 o'clock on August 19th. First order of business will be roll call. Ms. Kimberly Higginbotham.
Here.
Mr. Tracy Pollock. Here. Myself, Eric Brown, are present. Next item on the agenda is agenda revisions and approval of the July 15th meeting. I'll hear a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda revisions and approval.
First. Tracy with second. We have a motion, Kim first, Tracy second, to approve the revisions and approval. Any discussion? I will assume that we have all read it and everything is copacetic, so no discussion. I'll go to the vote. If in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no nays or 3 yeas, there are no noes. That motion passes, and we will approve the minutes. We did. Revision. Move on to reports and updates. 3 sections of that: teacher resignation, teacher contracts, and staffing update, all handled by Mr. Mike Nowak. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you.
Hold on.
What did I
Hold on,
miss?
sorry. Were we just approving the agenda or the minutes? Because we missed one, I think.
Oh, did I miss the minutes?
The agenda was approved, not
Okay.
the minutes. So we're on 4.
Oh, approval of the minutes. Approval of the July 15th minutes. I'll hear a motion.
Make a motion to approve the July 15th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Second.
First by Kim, second by Tracy. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3 ayes, no nays. That carries. Now we'll move to item 5, reports and updates. Mr. Nowak?
Thank you. We have 2 resignations to bring forward tonight. The first is Brooke Gronitz, submitted her letter of resignation July 17th, which was right on the heels of our last meeting. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, this appeared after we had posted for our July meeting and whatnot, so it goes in now. The second is for Kelly Herbst. She submitted her letter on August 9th. That's a part-time role as a reading specialist at Rockfield. With both of these, I want to point out that in checking today, liquidated damages have not been recouped from both of these individuals. So what happens in these situations at this time of year is that we make communication with school districts that they are now to be in, and make it clear that a teacher can't be under contract with 2 districts at the same time. Because our liquidated damages have not been recouped, they are technically still under our contract and will need to be taken care of that way. So this is not unusual. It's something that we go through quite regularly. In the batch of previous resignations, we know that all of those liquidated damages have been recouped. It's just that with the school year starting, now it's kind of critical time to do that. So that will occur.
Got it. Any questions? Okay, contracts?
Thank you. We have a number of contracts to bring forward. They go back, this spans quite a bit of time relative to the summer in terms of work that we've done from that July point on. We go through them. I think there are, 6 that we bring forward tonight. First, a math teacher for the high school is a regular contract, the result of a resignation. And that's Valerie Fountain. Daniel Frosoloni, social studies teacher at the high school. Another contract being offered as a result of a resignation. Ariel Pesci is being recommended for position as a result of resignation. Thomas Lang, this was a position that we had talked about quite a bit, is being recommended for position, tech ed position at KMS. That was a very recent hire that we're happy to bring forward. Carly Nickerson is a third grade teacher at MacArthur Elementary on a regular contract, being brought forward as a result of a resignation. Finally, Timothy Western is a science teacher at Germantown High School, again, being brought forward as a result of a resignation. All of these teachers come to us with positive recommendations. They're excited. I believe all of them were here today. We believe that there'll be positive additions at the sites they'll be teaching at.
Very good. Any questions? All right. Russ, have a question?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the salary amounts.
Yep.
I note that 2 are at our base and the other 4 are above that.
Yeah.
Can I read into that and denote previous teaching experience?
Yeah, can you just repeat the first part of what you said?
2 of them are at our base.
Yeah.
The 47.5, and the other remaining 4 are well above that. I'm assuming, I don't want to read into that, but is that the notion of previous teaching experience?
Correct. Our process when we have candidates come in is to look at experience, qualifications, education, all those kinds of things, and place them relative to where our teachers would be. As you reference, if it's a new teacher, there's not too much discussion. In all of these cases, with the exception of maybe one, it's somewhat limited experience, but nonetheless, there is experience.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? We'll move on to staffing update.
Okay. I want to start with the teaching staff vacancies that we list. First off, a GHS special education teacher. I'm happy to report that this afternoon we brought a teacher in and she signed a contract. It won't be in the packet tonight because of the timing, but we do have that position covered. We still have need for a speech path. Kennedy Middle School, late last week, we also have a teacher that we don't have here for contract tonight, but we are secured there. The next 2 we still are working on. That is part-time music at both Rockfield and Amy Bell. It's a conversation that has been going on over the last couple weeks relative to possible candidates and things that may come to light. We're confident that one of the positions will be filled, but at this time we can't bring a candidate forward. We've inquired in the event that we can't fill the other one. We've inquired as to kind of contingency planning, and that may involve a substitute for a period of time. Those conversations, like I said, are daily. That's a very difficult position to fill, just because the number of applicants in the pool, and specifically applicants that would want that position at a part-time status. So it's something that we continue to look at. We're still confident that we'll be there. Like I said, we think we have one of them filled. The other is of some concern. And then the final one, the part-time physical education teacher. This morning, we had a teacher in who signed a contract for that position. So even since the writing of this document, the submitting of this document late last week, we're in a better place. Any questions on those before I move into kind of the update section?
Russ has one.
The ones that we have secured but weren't available for this approval cycle will be on our neck by the full board.
Correct.
Between now and then, there's a lot of work being done internally with the district in professional development and that type of thing. Are they able to jump in on, I know they're not missing out on that?
In the case of one of the individuals that came in today, she will not be able to begin until the first day of school. So there's some contingency planning on the side that's in place. The other one was here today and should be ready to go. And this is somewhat of a common practice over time in terms of when we have contracts that we bring forward, we're often forced to get them into their roles for the sake of, not going days, weeks without someone in those spots.
Sure. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Moving on, the staffing update. This was, for me, a little more involved process than usual, but it's that time of year. I do want to point out, and it just needs clarification. If you look at the second entry, it references Diana Meyer, administrative assistant at Amy Bell, and it references staff replacing. The reason that's noted is resignation. What I want to point out, you'll see on the next page, under Dana Ostringa's position that she vacated, it's Catherine Masshart. The reason that was noted there is role change. That's really the same with the first one, the Melissa Litzow. What happened in each of these situations, although they are a little bit different, and it's somewhat semantics. In the case of Melissa Litzow, she left Amy Bell and the role that she was in there and went to the district office. Now, if this was like a teacher into an administrative role or something like that, we technically would have them resign from the position and move into, say, a new contract. It's a little different here. I guess technically she's not resigning from the district, but really that should be a role change. I know when I did this, I wrote it as resignation because she was leaving one building going to another. And when I got to the other one, I did the next part. Later, after the fact, I kind of deduced that role change was maybe more appropriate. So I just want to shed light on that for the sake of Melissa and make it clear that she's not resigning from the district, for what it's worth. But other than that, much of what you see is support staff change. We do note significant change in professional technical ranks, which I know that you're aware of with Jeff Crawford's resignation. Moving on to the next page, again, quite a bit of what we see is in the area of support. A significant one at the top of the page is Jill Seefeld, our supervisor of food and nutrition. That was a person that we brought in, again, very close to the last board meeting time. I think it was shortly after that. She's been in and has been working closely with Brittany Altendorf relative to procedures in that department. Moving on, you'll note at the bottom are continued vacancies, which in the case of some of the special ed positions, we have had those filled even in the last few days. As recent as today, we got word on people that we're looking to bring in. So it's a very, very busy time in that regard. And literally, if I were to recreate this today, it would look somewhat different than it did last week. But nonetheless, it's a running record of what we see. That bottom section reflects the 2 teacher resignations that we had. One of the notations is for other, as we haven't had, we didn't really get a fair chance to have in-depth conversation with the teacher in terms of kind of the why. I felt more comfortable with that classification. As you know, from the last one, I took money off of the rationale list for those reasons as we had discussed.
Sounds good.
Any questions?
Mike Lose?
Yeah, Mike, testing. There isn't, the resignation data and reason for leaving, there really isn't for all the people that resigned, there isn't much here.
Right. We do that, the chart that you see, we do that specifically with our teacher ranks. We haven't interviewed haven't made practice of interviewing our support staff who are exiting. That's a practice Dr. Reuter and I engaged in probably midway through last year and will continue to, but we haven't met in particular with support staff or professional technical. Dr. Reuter's had conversations with some of those individuals, but we don't know the rationale piece.
Okay. Thank you.
Russ?
Some of my understanding on that too is some of these resignations happened and those input was already accounted for in previous meetings. So these are just the two that we've had in addition to add to
Correct.
the data.
Yeah, yep.
I don't know if it's possible to keep this is new, which is what we have on this one, and then potentially a running total of some sort, or you'll present that at some point in time?
Yeah,
In a yearly report, or?
Historically, and we started doing this, I want to say, 3-4 years ago, we've used our September meeting to note all of the teacher turnover. And we classify it in a far more detailed way on a broad scale of, all of our teachers from the point of, say, spring last year when the year concluded. And we'll do that again. I know we've talked about it a little bit. I want to adhere to that process, but at the same time, maybe look at it collectively to see what more we wanted to do. What we historically have done with that is we've pulled out retirements as those are kind of logical exits that people make. And likewise, we've pulled out non-renewals as those are people that, we've that have gone in other directions that the rationale piece doesn't quite fit the same way.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Move on to item 6, unfinished business. We don't have any. Move on to item 7, new business, and it's additional fall coaching contracts. Yeah, we put this in there because we have, right towards the end here, some new contracts. So Mike, you want to take that?
Yeah, this, coaching contracts have not historically been part of this committee's work. In this, at this time, we felt it was appropriate to incorporate it. Going back to our last meeting, we had a broader kind of scope of contracts to bring forward. We have 4 to bring forward this evening. And these, as I mentioned with a few of you, throughout since the initial posting of this document, we've had positions that have been filled. We had a late resignation, and actually here's a great example of a teacher/coach that resigned late last week, whose resignation won't go before you until the next meeting, but because of her co-curricular position, Sarah acted on it and is in a position to, bring a coach in. So we have the 4 that you see. Sarah Nerdl is not with us this evening, but she, like I said, from last week on, was updating us with regularity with these changes.
Very good. I'll look for a motion to move forward on this.
Make a motion with the positive recommendation to the full board to approve the fall coaching contracts for, I'll apologize in advance, Julie Desnue, Ari Newmeyer, Michael Warren, and J.D. Optigar as presented.
Second.
Kim with the first, Tracy with the second. Any discussion? Okay. Russ?
Was that updated? I just have 3 on mine, but I might have it might have been updated.
No, we had 4, Mike had
Okay,
updated that
yeah,
this
I just
morning.
have okay, thank you.
So we have first and a second, no discussion. We'll move, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3. Any opposed? No. Hearing none. We have a motion that carries. That'll take us to one final entertainment of a motion.
Move to adjourn?
I'll second.
Tracy with the first, Kim with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And with that, we will adjourn at, anybody got time on that for me?
6:20.
6:20. Thank you.